Oh, yeah.
How's your coccyx?
It's sore. I fell, guys. Like, on my ass. Twice.
Today, we are going to talk about what happens after you die. I thought an interesting approach to this would be the fact that, like, my friend Angel here went to a Catholic school. She knows a lot more about, like, religion than I do. And so I guess my opening statement I wanted to open with was, going to Catholic school, was that a choice of yours or was that a choice of your parents? And why did they have you do that?
I definitely wasn't my choice when I was a kid, so all my choices were done by my parents.
Yeah.
My parents grew up Catholic, super Catholic.
In the Philippines?
Yeah.
I did not know that was over there like that.
Oh no, very Catholic.
Interesting.
Yeah, extra Catholic. Super, super Catholic.
Like, did you guys go to church every Sunday?
Yeah, all
okay.
that. Baptized, I had First Communion, I did reconciliation, all the sacraments.
Did you feel the actual meaning behind it, or were you just doing it because, like, you were told that you had to do it?
Oh gosh, this is gonna be an interesting progression of a conversation. During that, I enjoyed my Catholic school experience.
Okay.
I didn't have any issue with it. I loved all the people that I went to school with. I loved my teachers. What was the question again?
Like, did those things mean something in the sense of what they were made to mean, or was it just, like, a process?
Well, it was just a process, to be honest. I didn't really, like, take anything to heart. I was just doing it because I needed to do it. You know, we had to memorize prayers and, like, we had tests on reciting a prayer and doing all that type of stuff. So it was really, like, another class in your curriculum.
And so now, after the fact, like, how do you feel about religion?
Ooh, this is
I told you that's what we're here for, Doggy.
so loaded.
That's what we're here for.
Woo!
We're getting deep in these streets.
Okay. I legit started sweating. I can hear my parents now. So many years of paid Catholic school, and this is what she's saying. She's an atheist. I am not an atheist.
I feel like a lot of Catholic people end up like that, though.
My entire family still practices Catholicism. I do not. So quickly, it shifted for me around my early 20s. Around my early 20s, I was like, hold up, hang on, 1 second. Because I was cussing in my head in church. And I was like, I should not be cussing in my head in church in my thoughts. And it was because we were at Sunday Mass. And I had a ton of family in town. Like, family from Houston was in town. Just a ton of us. There were a ton. Like, we loaded the church with Filipinos. And I remember walking, and I was passing a pew of older white people. And I heard one of them say, "Where are all of them coming from?" And I was like, oh no, this did not just... What do you mean, where we come from? What? And I'm over here like, F this, F that. And I was like, I'm cussing on an old lady.
In church?
In church.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, it was disheartening because I had spent kindergarten all through 8th grade at this church school. Because that's what it was. Like, so we were going to church at the... School. It was also a school. But, so that was like one of the first things. And then to top it off, I'm pretty sure it was within a 6-month period. So during like the Our Father, there's a prayer.
Okay.
There's a prayer. Yeah. Our Father, we like hold hands, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Anyways, that. You usually like, you hold hands or you do this thing. And my father, it was me and my dad. And he went to go extend his hand to this older white man. The white man looked at his hand, did not take it, and then reached to the pew behind him to hold this white woman's hand. So here I am. Oh man, because at that point I was getting other perspectives because I was starting to learn religion from an educational standpoint and not a religious standpoint. There's a huge difference when you hear that. So I was like, why do I keep going to this place where I'll also be accepted as the children of God? And then I'm over here with these people that are supposed to be my homies. Yeah. Essentially. And they're like
homies in Christ.
Homies in Christ. And they are mean to me and my family.
Yeah.
So I was like, this isn't it.
It's funny that you say that because when you said that in the Philippines it's super Catholic, my first thought was like, I wonder when they got colonized to be made to follow that.
Well, it was with the Spaniards.
There you go. So, I mean, Philippines wasn't doing that. Like, somebody brought that over there. I felt like the same way, too, in the times that... Because I wasn't really raised in church like that. And then I remember when I was in high school, the girl that I was dating at the time wanted me to go to her church with her. Mm-hmm. It was this church on the south side. And, like, it was kind of in the hood a little bit.
Was it like a Baptist church?
I don't know.
Were they singing?
Yeah, it was a black church. You know what I'm saying? I was just blown by, like, how shady people would be. Like, if kids were loud, like, these ladies would, like, grab them outside, like, you know, pull them outside and, like, curse them out or whatever. And it was just very, like, the energy in there was very, like, bullshit to me. Yeah. And I was like, I felt like the whole thing was kind of a con in the sense of this was just a way for them to give people this kind of fake hope and to make money. And it's such a trend that I've seen in churches, especially like black churches, where like these pastors will have fancy suits and fancy cars. My aunt took me to a church one time and the pastor had a Bentley that the church bought him. What? Why would he even accept that? I never could get with it because to me it always felt like religion in itself, and even these churches kind of always felt like this weird population control thing or this kind of like cult thing. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like if God is all powerful, why do I need to go to this building and talk to him? Like, why do I need to be around these people? Why do I need to listen to this guy and do all this stuff, you know?
I mean, I'm with you on that. I consider myself raised Catholic. I have a Catholic background, but I'm not a practicing Catholic. But I'm not an atheist either.
So what would you call yourself?
Spiritual. And I feel like I have my own relationship with God that because I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I still believe in all of that. I don't believe in organized religion. Learning about religion from an educational standpoint really just kind of like
blows out the water.
Yeah.
Like even in the Bible where they're like he ate from the tree of knowledge and then all hell broke loose. Yeah. And I'm like, so you're literally preaching to me that to know stuff other than what you're saying is going to send me to hell. Yeah. Why the f*** would I buy that?
I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
It's like, why are people like listening to this shit?
And it's like, you know how it's very competitive. It's almost like a team sport.
What? Religion? Oh, with like the different denominations?
It's like, because I took a comparative religion class in college. Yeah. And it was, we studied Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And they're like the same thing. All of them. Yeah. And people are going to hate me for saying that probably, but they really are. When you study them and you study their ideologies and everything that they stand for, they just call things differently. Even being Catholic, like learning about how Catholicism came about and the Crusades and the bloodshed and just pure anarchy. And you're like, wow, this whole religion was built off of bloodshed. You know? They didn't teach me that in Catholic school, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I bet you.
No, I bet you they didn't. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really interesting when you grow up and you kind of learn things from a different perspective than what you were taught. So, I don't think that I learned bad things. Because I feel like it taught me, going to a Catholic school, it gave me good character and like taught me good morals. I think it's like a combination of that and my parents. So I don't disagree with it. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then, I mean, you throw in me coming out of the closet and being gay, then whew, that just adds another element into this whole...
Did you ever go to a church again?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually tried to find churches in LA that I could vibe off of.
Did you?
No. I mean, like, the one church that I really liked was actually this Lutheran church. They were very, like, modern. They were singing. It was on Melrose and, like... It just felt like a good community and stuff, but I wasn't really into it. I went to a couple of bigger churches, like, you know, those like mega churches. It was too
like a concert.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like having my own personal relationship. To me, like, faith is important. Faith gives me hope, And hope is what takes me to each day.
I think it's interesting too in the sense because when I was in college, I kind of did the same thing with learning about different religions and how like.
Did you take that class too?
I don't think I took that class, but I just realized that a lot of them were kind of teaching the same thing. At the end of the day, it's like to be a good person. And so what blows me is the amount of like war and bloodshed and like fighting and stuff that goes on over something that's basically teaching you to be like a good person and love everybody. And then you look at like those people that go to the Pride Parade or something, and they're out there with those like
Bible
billboards
verses.
like screaming a thing like how everybody's going to hell, and it's like where in the Bible is that at?
I mean, there's so many references from books of the Bible that you can like. Football should be illegal because it has pigskin, you know?
The thing I noticed is like in churches especially, there's always a lot of like old people, and I feel like there's this tendency for people when they are getting closer to the grave to like want to embrace God more or religion. They're looking for some way to attach to where they think they're going next.
Yeah, they're looking for it's a fear of the unknown. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's to give like hope to people.
Yeah.
About where you're going to go and stuff like that. And it can be seen like twofold, I feel like. If you want to talk about certain organized religion as a business, what is the best thing for you to sell? Something that somebody can never prove. No one can say that you're wrong because no one's coming back from the dead being like, yeah, we went to that place. So I mean, it's just not to compare things, not to compare heaven and hell to dinosaurs. But if you think about it...
I like where this is going.
If you think about it, no one was alive to have any evidence of what a dinosaur looked like or sounded like. But if I asked you, what does a dinosaur look like? And then what sound it makes, but no one who heard, we just all agreed that's what a dinosaur sounds like. like really? You know? If you think about it, who decided that?
What if dinosaurs didn't even make noise?
I'm saying.
Like iguanas.
What if they were just like giant people?
What if they talked?
I mean, they could have, like that one show.
What? Oh, dinosaurs? What if they spoke English? Like I had an old coworker who was a Buddhist and he believed in reincarnation. And he had like different like evidences of that happening people in his religion had seen. And one of them was like these certain people who are like top, I want to say monks, I could be wrong, but like when they die, they know that they're going to come back. There's actually a movie about it where they come back as like a child and they like these guys go around the world looking for them.
Yeah.
And they felt like they found it in this one kid that was like 4. And they brought him back to this temple. Like all these people were coming up to like, you know, pay their respects to this little kid because he was the reincarnation of this monk. And there was this one guy that came in that this old monk didn't like. And when that guy came in, this little kid was like, you. And like pissed off at this guy. So they were like, for sure, this is the reincarnation of this guy. I've heard stories from people who are Native American and they talk about like different things that have happened with the weather because of like artifacts that they had being returned to their tribe. After a drought, it just poured rain because something was set right to their gods per se.
Whoa. I don't know enough about like Eastern religions to even talk about like to even have an input.
Well,
just learn something here.
I'm just saying this because for me, it's crazy the different types of religions that exist because somebody who's really religious, I can be like, I don't believe in that. And then they can tell you a story that happened to them personally that they'll attribute to the existence of some supernatural thing.
Yeah.
And you can't argue that with them because they lived it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's always necessarily attached to a religion. So it's hard for me to follow any one particular thing because like depending on who you're talking to, they can tell you some
about like the whole like where you go for death or whatever or that
anything.
Type of theory.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I always go to like in my life and in my experience is that when my grandmother died, that day I was like so happy, and I was so happy because before I found out she passed, obviously, I had begged my parents to get me the Dennis Rodman shoes. And they went and they took me and they got me the Dennis Rodman shoes. Now, my little sister, Alexis, she was still like a baby. But she was a good baby, you know. She was not fussy at all, nothing. From like 6 o'clock p.m., she would not stop crying. And we thought something was wrong with her. I remember my parents were like, what is going on? Like, she was just like crying for like a couple hours. We could not get her to quit. And then my grandfather called my mom. and told her that like my grandma had passed and like that the ambulance was coming over there right now. But to me, that I felt like my little sister knew, and she was like crying. My grandma had like visited her.
But even, okay, now with that, like, that's not really necessarily attributed to a religion specifically.
No.
But people will experience stuff like that, I think.
Yeah.
And kind of like connect dots.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you don't know for sure what actually happened. It's just like, you can say whatever you want. What do you think happens to you after you die?
Okay. Yes. I do believe that we go somewhere. I believe in your soul. Do you believe that you have a soul?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we're too much to, like, this is rented space to me. Like, your body is just rented space. Where I feel like you go after you die is like, I do believe in heaven. So I believe in that. What that is, that I don't know. To me, I feel like heaven would be like me hanging out with all the people that I love. Like, just like crossing over and being like, hey, what's up? It's been a minute. What's the food like over here?
The food like?
Yeah. Then, like, I remember this one conversation we had about what if when you were born, like, as a baby, they cry because they're like, oh my goodness, I have to do this over again.
Yeah.
So, like, the part of me, like, does sometimes feel like that might be it, too. Because sometimes I'll have experiences in life, I'm like, this happened to me. You know, like deja vu, second life type stuff. We can go. I'm telling you, the religion topic. Like we can do like 4 or 5 videos about this. What are you?
Like religion wise?
I mean, no. I mean, just anything. Like, do you believe in anything?
No.
Wow.
This is all meaningless. I'm just out here. I don't actually think that, but I was raised like somewhat Christian-ish. Like, I learned a lot of the teachings of, like, Christianity, but it wasn't really set up in a way of, like, any particular denomination. One of my grandmothers was, like, a preacher, and then, so my dad learned a lot of stuff from her, and he taught that stuff to, like, me and my sisters. As I got older and kind of just, like, went through things on my own and, like, had my own education, it kind of changed. And you can scientifically explain a lot of things that I think previously religion was used to explain. But there's like the one thing that I find you can't really explain is like the existence of stuff, why there is anything, you know, to comprehend space, like the infinite, things like that. You can't really explain that stuff. And then what's really wild to me is that everything in infinity is composed of like atoms. And so if you had to break it down to like something that I can touch, like you can't actually touch an atom, but like something that physically exists, it's that. Like everything in infinity is made of this one little thing. And you can't see it, but you know it's there. And you can't explain where that thing came from or why it is.
Right.
To me, like that's God. With all of that, like there's energy and like the fact that you can be in a dark room where you can't see anything or hear anything, but you know there's somebody else in there.
Of course. I mean,
like, why is that?
It's just that feeling, you know?
But those kind of things, like, that is something you can't, like, there's no science to explain
is
stuff
that,
like that.
have you felt that before?
Yeah. But, I mean, literally. Like, not even if it's, like, a spirit there, but, like, literally, if this room was pitch black and you woke up in here and you couldn't see anything, you would know if somebody else was in this room. Nobody, like, I don't know why, though. Like, you can't explain that.
Yeah.
And I have faith in the sense of, like, truth. I think that is more of my religion than anything. And
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, I think the core of most religions, like, if you really take it at face value, is just, like, being honest and true to everybody and everything around you. To have, like, no malicious intent in your heart and to just be true and honest, like selfless. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess love would be another word too, to just like move in that. Because if you're putting that out into the world, like even when bad stuff happens to you, like you'll come out of it and be good.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Because you're not out here doing any, and like karma. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things exist for a reason. And you can't explain it, but you know you've seen it.
I say it all the time, like intentions matter. There's way too many things that have happened in my life, good and bad, that like you can't tell me that it doesn't exist. I'm gonna use business as the example, but like if I follow money, it never comes. But if I follow like my heart and what I feel like is right or good, then I'll
You're
flourish.
Taken care of.
Yeah, like and that's why it's like they always say, you know, lead with love, and No, you love those. Tony
Corn.
loves these lines of leading with love and
Stuff that's like on Instagram and there's a tree
but it's
and it's purple and then
Oh,
they
no.
write it in
I'm talking about-
papyrus font.
I'm talking about heart
Or
hands.
heart hands. It's written inside the heart hand.
Heart hands with the sun
With the sun.
lighting it from the back. I know you know what we're talking about.
My fave.
It's his favorite. Leading with love and just waking up just thankful. And I do that all the time. You know, like to me, how you start your day and how you start your morning just kind of sets the course for everything. I do not like people that wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah, it just takes me a long time to wake up, I think is what it is.
So what do you think then? What do you think happens when you die?
My honest answer to that is it doesn't matter because you're dead. And this is why I feel that way. The best explanation I could come up with to explain that was a video I saw of this scientist, I think he was, talking about the fact that we don't worry about what happened before we were born. So why do we worry about what happens after we die? That was like an interesting thought to me because I was like, yeah, I have never thought about that. What matters is what you do here because this is all that we know. Mm-hmm. And what you can do here to move people or to touch people, like that's what you leave here.
Mm-hmm. Like your legacy.
Yeah. And so you still live on. You just live on through the people that you touch. So like if you have a kid, everything you taught that kid, they're going to teach their kid. And then probably whatever you just taught that kid, you learn from your parents and they learn from their parents. So we're all part of this one sort of energy or this one spirit that's been moving since day one in some sort of a way. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of narcissistic to be worried about what happens to you specifically.
So you're thinking like bigger picture type thing?
I think that's the only thing you can think. And we're so...
In life?
Yeah, like when you see ants.
Like ants, I was
like
shut up. Shut up. I was literally like ants. They're all about.
They don't care what happens to any one of them in particular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we think about things more that way, we wouldn't be so worried about it, and we would just do stuff for the greater good. And I think that's what religion's purpose is supposed to be at the end of the day.
I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Like that's a great point. Like that is what religion's supposed to be, and to me, like that's why when I see certain practices and certain religions that aren't doing that and like use Jesus Christ as a way to just promote like hate, like
right.
it really like just like I feel like this can be a different video, but like that really it gets me.
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
We're going to come back to this. We're going to pick this up another episode down the line. Whatever you think about religion, I know this one might like light some fires and spark some debates, but that's fine. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Yeah,
happens.
in the comments. What do you think happens after you die? Where do you think you go?
We would love to hear from you.
Do you believe God is a woman? That's another topic too. I think so.
Yes. All right, y'all. Like, subscribe, comment. Woo!
Deuces.
Let me get up. It hurts.
She broke her coccyx.
It hurts. That was good.